Alright, so we're going to look at the game. You played Dallas Sting. Let me just make sure this is full screen. There we go. You can still see, right? Everything's okay? Okay, so the first moment starts at 7:35. So I didn't really worry about the first 10 minutes, or the first minute. So 7:35 is what I have jotted down, so it's going to come up here in a second. Alright, so you know where you are, correct? I think you can see yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, this is something we're going to talk about in a second. Okay, so right here. So you know where you are, right? I don't need to highlight you.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so it's actually pretty good. Position-wise, the only thing I would tell you from here, real quick, is again as a number 10. Right, and again, your coach probably doesn't tell you much, but that's okay. So like right here, right? We'll start with the throw-in. So it starts at 7:28. You're over here in the middle next to the center defender, right? It's hard, right? Because I don't know what your coach tells you to do specifically. He might be telling you to get on the ball or not. But there's a huge gap. Like I'm going to try and draw it for you right now. There's a huge gap right here. Damn, do not do that. Let me use my pen. Let me see if that'll work. A huge gap here. Now you can already position yourself. And obviously this is your winger. I don't know what your winger is doing. That's not good. But besides the point. So you can already start positioning yourself, and then you move into it, so you can see the ball's retained, right? And then you do eventually come out, but like I need you to be looking more. Like you can see you're just ball watching. You did one scan. Okay, so let's pause real quick. There's a second scan, so like you get into a good position right here. So remember, as a 10, a lot of times, especially the higher levels that you're going to go, the more that you're going to have to just focus on reposition, because like you're normally going to be the guy that just kind of shuffles. That's not really the right word. You're going to be moving around in areas just to get in the pockets. It's like the note I wrote is in this moment, a couple seconds before, but you know, in a pocket, but but you came and closed your own space. Just focus and readjust your positions, like right here. Right, so you're anticipating in this moment right now that I have the freeze frame in that you're going to receive the ball, right? And you're in a good spot, correct? Okay, but which way are you facing? Backwards. So you should already, in the anticipation that you're going to be receiving the ball, position yourself so that you are seeing the field. Right, because like you're in a good space, you start turning a little bit there, you're still backwards. The pass is gonna come, I think, to you. Okay, it doesn't. But again, you get into a. Can I pause, please? You get into a good space there. Now this is better. You can see in this position right here, you're already opening. Okay, and now this is where we get to 7:45. Okay, you receive the ball in an open position. You were in the middle of turning, so you didn't get that final scan in. But if you look to your left, this should be like your bread and butter right here. Right, because you're in a pocket of space, which is great. So this position is excellent. Okay, and you have 15 yards, give or take, in front of you. You have a runner to your left, or potentially a runner to your left. You have a runner to your right. So really, if you can get your touch past this player that's going to come pressure you to your right, it's 3-on-3. Or potentially 4-on-3 because the far right. You see what I'm saying? So it doesn't. If I remember correctly, you don't take this touch forward. You pass it. Yeah. So let's go back 5 seconds. Can I get rid of this little button? Oops. What the hell did I just do? I went the wrong way. Okay. 1 second. There we go. It's loaded. Okay. So you're going to receive the ball here in 1 second. So you can see you're starting to reposition. You don't get the scan, but look, instead of playing this ball one touch, which isn't bad. I don't think it's bad. The idea is not bad. But you don't even have pressure. You can just receive with your left and just drive. Does it make sense? Yeah, because again, this is where you're going to be the most dangerous. When you can pick up a ball in a gap like this, and you can just burst forward.
Okay.
Now, don't get me wrong. There will be times that you receive a ball like this, but you should pass. Just, I think in this situation, because the defender is to your right and behind you, you don't need to pass the ball. You can just start driving. Does it make sense? Okay, so let's go to the next one. All right, so your team's going to lose position, but I think you regain it. Because I have a 7:56 note right here. Yep, cool. So I wrote, I think you're asking for the ball. Obviously, we can't hear the audio because there's audio on, but it sounds like you're asking for the ball. I think you're saying like here or her name or something. Maybe I wrote Maddie, so you're saying Maddie. Right, don't be afraid to say Maddie ball, because then you're putting in her mind, hey, give me the ball. So you're not asking, you're demanding. So she doesn't make the pass to you, obviously, but and then that will translate to her where it goes into her mind. She's going, oh, Stella's telling me give her the ball. Let me give her the ball next time.
Okay.
So just something, a note that I use for kids because I think it helps, relay that message. So again, right here, when that ball was played over to that girl, you can see that you were visually asking for it. And I think you said Maddie. All right, so now we're going to 8:17, which is coming up right now. So the throw-in, right? So your coach maybe hasn't worked on this yet, but we talked about it last time, right? So has your coach worked on pressing at all?
Worked on what?
Pressing?
Kinda.
Okay. Well, for your team to effectively press, your left winger, which is this girl here, which just came on frame, she cannot be way over here. So she should be, just for representation purposes, she should be like right on your shoulder, give or take, like here.
Okay.
Right? So if you know that next time, or you see this in the future, I don't know her name, I'm sorry, but what is her name?
Blake.
Blake?
Yeah.
You can say, hey Blake, 10, 15 yards from me. Because that way, if you think about it, the other team is able to swing the ball out and get it to this girl, as an example, at least she'd be in a position to screen the middle pass. Because what you don't want at a high level is games where the opponent can split easily, so penetrate. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. Where they can penetrate easily and play a ball like this. That's not, again, what I said to do. Click this, please, the arrow. Thank you. And then play a ball straight through here. That just took out 2 lines of defense with 1 ball. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So just, be aware, communicate that. Again, I know it's not perfect level or whatever, but at least you can keep that in your mind. Because they're able to get the ball right there, and then they clear it. So she couldn't necessarily have an impact in that phase, which is okay, but from a general defending point, you want to get very compact. Okay, so now 8:30's coming. Okay, so pause. This is really important for me. Okay, so there's a couple things here. Let me go back 5 seconds. So you can see, I need to get rid of this button. What the hell? How am I skipping? There we go. Okay, so 5 more seconds. Okay, so you're not in frame, but you're right behind this defensive midfielder. Okay, so this is where it's important representation. So what I'm trying to say is your one center back plays your other center back. So now it's to your number 5 who's receiving the ball. The question I have for you, does she have pressure on the ball? Is she being pressed?
No.
Okay. So my recommendation is, especially as a number 10, if your teammate is not being pressed, you don't need to show in front of the defender for the ball. Do you understand what that means?
Yeah, so I'd stay in the pocket. Like, would she drive forward then, or would I?
Okay, so hold on, I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to freeze it in a second. So there you are. You just showed up. You're in a decent position because you're behind this girl, the number 6. All right, so all you would need to do, because again, I'm gonna draw it here. You can see it. I'm gonna use an arrow. She's gonna dribble right here. And then if you just move and again, I can't see the whole thing, right? The video's not high enough. But if you just move, for example, here, and just wait and get on the half turn.
Okay.
She can then because she doesn't have pressure, she can just then thread you a ball right. Damn, that is so frustrating. She can just thread you a ball right. Jesus, I'm hitting the damn. She can just thread you a ball right here. And the thing is, this girl the girl that's in front of you, the defender, she doesn't even know that you're there. Right?
Yeah.
But look, so she's going to start dribbling. Again, she has no pressure. And look where you came.
I closed the space.
And so, again, I don't think, based on what I was seeing from the video, that she knew where you were. Right, so let me pause it real quick. Like, I don't think what you did is bad. You're able to bounce the ball, but you're also 5 yards from your teammate. But look, this is perfect. This is a great representation. Let me try and go back like 3 seconds. Hold on. So she's going to pick up the ball. She's going to drive right here. And then she's going to make the pass to you anyways. Look, right there. So she's going to make the pass. Look at the defender. All right, now look. Now that I froze it here, look, you can see your teammate. Your teammate is right here. Okay, and then there's this huge gap. You see what I'm talking about? Right, so this right here is the part that I highlighted is your danger zone. So imagine again if you positioned yourself here and you were just sitting right here. I hope your teammate's good enough that she can split these two passes, and if you pick up the ball in this area where I highlighted, you now have another 15 yards to your left and you're already breaking to goal.
Yeah.
So the point of this is let your sixes do the job of doing this unless she's under pressure, which she wasn't really under pressure because she's being pressed by one player and she's, way too far off. Does that make sense to you? Does that help?
Yeah, but if she is being pressed, I would come into that space.
It would depend. It's entirely possible you can because remember you also have, I'm assuming it looks like you guys played with 2 6s instead of a 6 and an 8. Correct? Okay. So we'd have to freeze a frame and see exactly a reference point because there would be moments that I would say, hey, yeah, you can come in here or that you should go here or whatever these circumstances are. But a lot will also depend on how many players are pressing. Because, again, let's imagine this one girl was pressing... Oops. Let's imagine this one girl was pressing the center back, right? So she's under pressure. But she has 2 passes to her left and 1 to her right because it's one player. You don't need to show. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If she's being pressed and the entire team, so the opponent, blue, is organized, they're compact, and then they're pressing, which is how you should press, then, yeah, you would have to find a position to be available. But, in a situation like this, let's pretend the girl was much closer. So she's, I'll draw for you again. So let's assume that she's, here, and she's closer. Then, yeah, you might have to show, or maybe not because she can play a teammate that's open because she's by herself.
Okay.
So, again, it's very situationally based. We'd have to look at an actual frame, but it's hard because, a lot of teams that I'm watching that you play against don't know how to press as a group. But anyway, so you're able to give it to her, but again, look how far back you are now, and you have to try and run forward. So I feel like in this game, you had to do a lot of extra running. And you did do better staying in the middle, obviously, because you were playing as a center 10 by yourself. And I even put that as a note. I feel like you're doing a lot of extra running, but now we're at a freeze frame again. Hold on. Okay, so I think you need to, and I know the teammates aren't great, right? But you can also let them do their job. Okay, so now we're at 8:53, so let me just figure out, there we are. Okay, so there's you in a good space, you're in a good job already, you're in a good spot, which is great. So you're going to receive the ball in a second, I believe. Yep, right here. So you can see you're in a good position, your teammate's kind of in your space, which is obviously annoying, but that's okay. So let's look, the ball's going to swing to you right here. Okay, great, I think you try and shoot, right? So she moves into a little bit of space. Now, this is where I think the defending team made a mistake. And this is where I think awareness for you will make a bigger impact, right? So you pick up the ball right here. And look who's going to step to you. The left defender. Or sorry, the number 2, the right defender. Right, that should not be her because she has a threat with your teammate.
Yeah, it should be the center back.
Correct. So, because if you can recognize this quicker, if I'm you, I'm going to try and attract more attention from her so then I can just release the ball to the left. Because if you look to the left, you can see she's now open, look.
Yeah.
And all you got to do is just slip it. And then this should, hopefully at least, if not be a shot on target, a goal. I think you cut to the right. Yeah, right here. But look at this. So now, she might have cut the angle now, but a second ago it was on. And then she's in an open pocket, and you can just hit her, and she, again, should hopefully score. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move to the next piece, which is about a minute away. Don't get me wrong, I think, you did good. You beat 2 guys, 2 girls. If you could have got the shot off and you scored, then I wouldn't even bring it up, or I would just say, hey, just be aware this is the other option you had available in this moment.
Yeah, I think I held the ball for 1 touch to shot.
That's right. All right, so now we're getting to 9:41. Okay, so this next one's really important because, again, the higher levels that you go, the older you get, more experience you get. I think this piece will start making a big difference for you. And again, if you think about Odegaard when we looked at it last time, which we're going to pause in 1 second. So I'm going to preempt this with your team is about to regain possession of the ball. Right? So in this throw in 2 seconds or 2.5 seconds, your team's going to get the ball back. So when you see that happen, or I should say, as you're seeing that happen, you should be working to reposition yourself. 1 second. You should be working to reposition yourself so that you can be in an attacking position to be effective and efficient. Okay, so in this scenario right now that I have it froze, where can you position yourself once you realize, it doesn't even have to be that your team has the ball yet, but once you realize your team is getting the ball, in this moment right now, where could you position yourself?
When I pull out, I go behind the girl and then I like a little bit wider.
So I'll give you a good example. There's a kind of a gap, right? So it could be, for example, anywhere like in this range, I would say.
Yeah, that's what yeah.
Yep. Because then you open up, you create space, you're behind her, and you're away, right? So you do eventually do that, if I remember correctly. You just do it late, right? So your team's going to get the ball right here. Boom. And see, like, you start going up. And you don't have a lot of time to make the adjustment, right? Because it was just a quick turn of possession. So, but there's other points, too, where you could have made this decision.
Yeah.
So what you do is you start backpedaling, and then look, she's going to try and punch you the ball right here. And so that's a mistake from her, obviously. So, because you're trying to get into a position where she doesn't need to play the ball yet, or she shouldn't play the ball yet, but now you have to stop and turn. But just imagine if you, again, that one's harder, but just imagine if you could have repositioned yourself earlier and already been open.
Yeah, I just couldn't, yeah.
Boom, you're gone. Right, so like, and I wrote this as notes, transitions in the game are always, so transition is a turnover, so attack to defend, defend to attack, are going to always be the most dangerous or deadly moments. Because usually what happens is teams that were attacking, so blue was attacking, they now have to go to defense. Most teams are usually very, very slow in transition. So if you can think, and that's why I use the words efficient and effective. If you can think and move efficiently and effectively, you'll burn 97% of the teams you play against. Especially as a number 10, you have to constantly think about how can I, so Stella, position myself to receive a ball on a line break. Do you know what that word means, a line break? Or phrase?
When a defender, or you can dribble, I guess, too. When you, like, break the line of defense with a pass or a dribble.
Okay, so, again, using this picture, let's pretend that your teammate had the ball still, right? You don't have it now. Let's just pretend the ball's with your teammate. Where could you put yourself so that way you can receive the ball on a line break? Okay, so you potentially, right? So I'm going to help you out a little bit because I don't think you've been taught fully that. That's okay. But I'm going to show you what I mean, all right? So I'm going to show you, again, let's pretend your teammate has the ball. So let me just put a little circle here to make sure we understand. So forget the actual ball. I'm going to draw a little circle, all right? This is the ball, little blue thing. Okay, so now I'm going to draw these lines just to help you out. So you have a line here. Don't do that damn thing. That is so frustrating, my God. Woo! That's a line. That's one line.
Okay.
This is a line. I think there's another defender. She's way off, so it's kind of weird, but this is another line. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm going to draw another circle. This is where you could be to break a line. Just as an example. It doesn't have to be right here. I'm just putting this here. Okay, so the reason is, if this is the ball where I highlighted the girl is now, right? So forget that you have the ball. She has the ball there, right? And then you're behind, and I just picked this one spot. So you're in that spot that I circled that's bigger. And then you receive the ball, so your teammate makes a pass to you here. That's a line break. Because those two players next to you, that's a line. Do you understand what I'm saying with this line break?
Yeah.
Okay, so especially as a number 10, the most dangerous thing, in my opinion, is to always find those line breaks. That's why I say a pocket. So when I say a pocket, that's what I'm referring to. You're trying to find a spot where the ball can come to you. So a pass can come to you, and it's a line break. These are the most dangerous passes in the game. Because, again, if you're in this pocket and you receive the ball, and especially if you're on the half turn, you can then just drive straight into the space. Or play a through ball immediately. Like you've seen, like the video we looked at Odegaard last week, he's able to receive a ball and play a ball on a second touch. Right? The most efficient ways for you to do that and effective ways for you to do that is to be in these line breaks. Between the lines. That's what it's really called, between the lines. And then I use the word line break because the pass or dribble breaks the line.
So, if I'm in between the two defenders, and
do you mean behind them or between them?
behind,
Okay.
and the girl with the ball dribbles forward on my team, but doesn't pass the ball, she just keeps taking her space, where would I move? Like, would I stick out?
Okay, so let's take these out. Okay, so just make sure I understand. So you're saying your teammate, this girl, has the ball. She dribbles like this, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so then you're asking me where can you move? Well, the picture's going to change, but I would hope that your teammate here would run out.
Yeah.
I would hope that this teammate continues to go this way to drop their line. And then for me, because eventually one of these two center defensive mids are going to have to step to you. I'm just giving you an idea, right? So it's not perfect, but like here, this big gap will hopefully open up. So you could be here, you could be here, you could be here. It just depends on basically where does she dribble to. You understand? Because all you want to do is if she dribbles to this spot here in the middle, you want to be, in my opinion, you want to be on a diagonal. So again, that would be a diagonal pass. It's much easier to be on the half turn on a diagonal pass. That would be that's the wrong way, but that would be that. That would be this. Those are diagonal passes. Whereas if it's a straight pass, more than likely it has to be on your back. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand.
So you just have to think on diagonals.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's keep playing because I think you actually pick up the ball. You do, you turn. You see it takes a lot of touches. I think the ball you played is decent. Your girl teammate just didn't use her body. She's got to engage her body. We talked about this last time. I don't know what this team's doing because that's terrible. I don't know why that goalie would do that. All right, so anyways, we're going to come up to the next play, which is right here, 10-1. Okay. That's what I was wondering, but check this out. Let's go back a second. Okay, so again, right, so I don't think it's terrible, but I think you can be much more efficient with your movement. So right here, you see that your teammates regain possession. She's now winning the individual battle, correct?
Yeah, I don't know a line there.
Okay, so since you're agreeing with me, where do you think you can move right now?
I should be behind the girl with pink cleats.
Yeah, the one...
I think it's number 12.
Yeah, so let's just make sure we're on the same page. Here, correct? Okay, cool, yeah. So you start here, but especially since you see her winning the battle, if I'm you, and this is important, you have to notice when your teammate's winning the battle, right? You just, yeah, I mean, you can literally just make this run, and I wish you did. You just run, and then run, boom, and she just slips you a ball, hopefully you just finish. Because that girl has no idea what's going on. And it's a turnover right there. All right, so next play is going to come up in a second. Yeah. Okay. So next play is coming up at 10:33. All right, so you're in a decent spot. All right, so you're already in a pocket, right, which is great. Okay, you can see the ball swinging, but watch what you're going to do in a second. So you see yourself now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so watch what you're going to do. You start chasing the ball, okay, and then look what you realize. You see what just happened?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me go back 5 seconds. Hold on. Okay, so your teammate's going to recycle the ball, right? So your teammate is now draw a line so you can see your teammate's passing here, and then the ball is going to come here, right? What you do is you step in. So as the first pass goes, you step in. So you go this way. The second pass comes in, and then you move back out. Right? Just wait. So like you can see, like clearly you can tell right now your teammate's about to recycle the ball, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what I wrote as a note, and it's really important you start thinking about this. Right? You need to think about, again, pockets, one, but the word that I used is reposition. So to reposition correctly, you have to be constantly evaluating your surroundings. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because a lot of times you're stuck just watching the ball versus just evaluating your space and the areas around you. So potential threats, potential passes, potential movements, things like that. Does that make sense? Because look, I'm going to play it again. So you can see the ball's going to go back. You step in right here. Look. And you can see the second pass is about to come, right? You see that?
Yeah, I see.
Okay, but look what you do. Second pass comes. You're now stepping in. All you would need to do, just wait. Right here.
Okay.
Because again, look, draw these lines for you again. Oops. Okay. It's not a perfect line, but there's a line here. Here, it kind of goes back. And then here. That's their midfield line. Right, so if you position into that spot, you're going to be on a line break. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay. Oops. So now, ball goes in here. Your teammate receives. Now you're moving into this space that I was just talking about. So imagine if you were already there.
Yeah, I would have just got the ball.
Because look, now that your teammate, you can see it. She has a little bit of space, right? You could even reposition. Like, nope. You could even reposition like here.
Okay.
And then again, she threads you that ball, hopefully well, and then you could just receive on the half turn and break into that space.
Yeah.
But again, like, if you're not aware, you can't make those decisions.
That just comes from like checking my shoulder and stuff.
Yeah, like again, we can probably look at some, but you look at again like Odegaard. I think he's the best example. You'll just watch him play, and he lets Arsenal build the ball, like his team build the ball, and all he's doing, obviously this is high level, right? So I don't expect you to do this at this point. It's reference to help you get there. 1, 2, obviously the teammates are much better than what you play with.
Yeah.
Right, so like obviously context is important. You're going to do things slightly differently, but at least these are things that you can start hopefully adding to your game step by step. And then when you start playing with better players and higher level, you'll be able to implement these things more effectively. So, but like my point with Odegaard is when he plays for Arsenal, a lot of times he's literally just moving around in the possession phase. So the team is possessing the ball, and he's just waiting. He's literally just repositioning, he's moving, he's scanning, he's trying to adjust his movement, and that way he's waiting for the opportune moment for the ball to be threaded to him, or he's waiting for the gap to open where he can move into a gap to receive the ball.
Okay.
So you can see there, and look, she even plays you the ball. Now look what happens when she plays it. Let me go back 5 seconds. So she's going to play you the ball in a second, right? And look, you have to receive the ball as a number 10 with your back to goal.
My ankle's wrong.
But then look, you already have pressure right on your back.
Yeah.
So again, just imagine if you were right here.
Here. Yeah.
On the half turn, you're gone. You're either going to get a shot off, you're going to play a final pass, you're going to take the dribble. One of the three.
Okay.
But you see that, right? You see what I'm talking about? And again, that's if we draw the lines. Line break, line break, line break. So that ball comes into you right there. Boom, you're now turning, you're driving this way. Gone. Okay, so let's see here. Any questions?
No.
Okay.
So far, no.
Sweet. Just make sure. Yep. So now you get the turn. You play a good ball back to her, which is fine. All right. So again, like what you did isn't bad. So don't misconstrue that as bad. You can just do better.
Okay.
And those little things, again, it's not a big detail, but like again, just receiving the ball back to goal versus finding that pocket, being on the half turn. That's efficient and effective. Again, you're a 2010. I don't expect you to pick all this stuff up. It's just good to be able to have it, though, and understand that you can do those things. So, again, you're going to receive the ball. Look, perfect example right there. Sorry, there's another note I wrote that I didn't pay attention to right here. So, same exact issue that we were just looking at, right? You're playing in front of the girl, the number 6. She's able to come pressure you immediately. I don't think you know that she's right there. Pass comes, bam. She comes to intercept.
I think I knew she was there, but if you go back, I think you can see my arm is pointing where I wanted the ball, and she played the wrong foot. So I was running away from the ball.
Yep. But, okay, so pause. Remember when I was talking earlier about you know that your team's going to have possession of the ball?
Yeah.
Okay. So you know already it's your team throw, correct? Okay. So you should already be, again, in my opinion, you know that your team's going to retain the ball. You already have, I don't need to draw, but you can see you have a striker, a winger. I guess this is your fullback, your center defensive mid, or maybe that's the other center back, and another defensive mid right here. So you have all these players here already, right? We can agree to this? Don't go there.
Okay.
So again, circle. Just come right here and just, it's not a perfect circle, but just come right here and just wait.
Yeah.
Because look, the ball's going to be recycled. So they throw it, she's going to pass it back. Especially now that you see that your team has retained possession, you should start immediately scanning, repositioning. And you should already been scanning before this. I don't think you should be here anyways. I think you should already be in this gap, one. But two, you see that your team is regaining the ball. Boom, ball's been played. You know that your team's going to have the ball. Now that you see that, you see her now getting the ball. Now you start moving. You're like 4 seconds too late.
Okay.
And then obviously, one, you're not in the best position to begin with because you're already in front of the defensive midfielder.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, we can draw the circle. You should be right here. Because if we draw the lines, boom, boom, boom. This is another line, and then here's another line. Does that make sense?
Because then it breaks the, yeah.
Yep. So technically, if she makes this pass to you into this gap, so she hits this ball right here into this gap, that's a double line break because she breaks the first line. She now breaks the second line, and it comes to you here in this pocket.
And then I can turn it. Okay, yeah, I get it.
And you can see like 3 or 4 times we're already highlighting this one detail. So imagine if you could, I think we've done it 3 times, maybe 4. We're talking about the same thing. So imagine if you did this 2 more times. You're either going to get a shot, hopefully. You're going to play the final ball to somebody. Or you're going to dribble 2 people or 1 person or whatever and then get the shot off. So hopefully either way we're adding, either it's from you or a teammate, a shot. Or that, I should say, the final play. All right, so the ball's going to swing. Here we go. So we're going to look at this. Ball's lost. For sure, it wasn't a great pass. I don't disagree with you. I just think, again, we need to look at what you can fix, which is that detail. Okay, so here again, you're in a decent position. This is where I pause it, though, because, again, this is all talking about the same thing. Like, you're in a much better position. This is great. Body, and it's great because your body's on the half turn. All right, so you can see you're already on the half turn. That way, if the ball does come to you, or if the pass did come to you, you can just drive because your body's open. That's great. Okay, the one thing that I wrote down that you need to make sure that you add is the scanning part. So I'll draw lines again. So with your head, scan this way, scan here, scan here, scan here, scan here, scan here. Right, so you might not necessarily need to look, I'm going to draw this again. You don't necessarily need to look here because you already know you're in a gap. It might be a good idea to look behind you just to make sure nobody's here. But you definitely need to look this way and this way.
Yeah.
Because that way you know if the ball comes to you, you're just going right here.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? But if we watch, so I want you to just, don't watch the ball, watch yourself. So we're going to watch yourself from this point right here. So your team has now regained possession. So you are right here. And I want you to just watch yourself. Okay, so look, you're ball watching. Look, you still haven't looked anywhere except the ball. And then right there, you did 1 scan, right? Which is, it's good, you scanned. Now the only thing is, again, like, what I want you to think about. Okay, if you are, I mean, you should do it at all points, but I think this will help you at least make those starts. If you are anticipating receiving a ball, you need to have more information. So how do you create more information? And that's a question for you. Scanning. So that's the only way you can do it. And look, you take one picture right there. Oop, right there. You took it right there. So that was good, but it was a period of like 6 to 7 seconds where you didn't do one scan.
Yeah.
And again, you're young. I don't expect you to get it all now. I'm just trying to give you that constructive feedback to help you make that decision. Because again, your position is great. Your body's already facing forward, so all this part here is excellent. It's just, you're in a good space. You just need to be, to help you take your game to the next step, you need to add that piece.
Okay.
So the ball's going to be swung here. Again, you're in a very good position. Your teammate should release the ball this way. I don't know why she decides to do that, but she does. Because it would unbalance the defense. I mean, her going on a run is not a bad thing necessarily either. But if she plays you this ball right here, their defense is screwed. Yeah, their defense is screwed. So that, again, I think this is a mistake from her. So if she could literally just play it and keep running, and then it's a 4-on-3, and the game it should create again a chance. But that's okay. You know, you can't control what other people do. The only thing you can say, I don't know her name, but you could say, I'm going to pick a name, Gabriella Ball, and then hopefully she'll swing it to you. But obviously in her mind, she's like, I'm going to dribble this.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong, dribbling's not a bad thing. It's just decision making on the dribble. All right, so let me make sure my notes just froze on me. There, okay, just one scan. So we're now going to 12:16, which is coming up in a second. Okay, so same thing we've kind of been talking about. I think you guys are going to regain possession right here. So again, your team is going to regain possession right here. At least I think that's what happens. Yeah, we get the ball. Okay. So again, what can you do in this moment? You recognize your team is gaining possession or regaining possession. What should Stella be doing right now?
Checking and repositioning myself.
Okay. Why?
So I can get into this pockets and they can break the defensive lines.
Okay. And there's one piece that we're missing. Is there pressure from the opposition on your teammate? There is?
No, I'm in.
Yeah, so there's nobody pressuring. I mean, there might be one girl and a second coming, but otherwise, it's 1 versus 3 or 1 versus 4. You don't need to show. All I would do, if I was in your shoes and I see this exact scenario happening, I'm going to go, cool. I'm going to just try. I can't show you everything because the frame's not here, but I'm going to head this way. Right? Because again, you look at this. There's one player pressing, and you have 4 teammates readily available with no pressure.
Okay.
So you don't need to go back. Because if your teammate, which again, you can see the pressure is coming with one player, okay, the second player now comes, you can still just wait. She's not under pressure yet. That's a horrendous touch. Jesus Christ. That was embarrassing. Okay, but anyways, so we go back real quick. Right, so that's just an obvious mistake. She should never make that mistake, but she does. So ball's going to be thrown. Just reposition behind that line. Just wait. There's not enough pressure for you to need to come back yet. I don't know what she's doing. She could let it go over her head and just go around. Anyways, and it's just such an unnecessary mistake. That's okay. But again, from your perspective and your role, does that make sense? Yep. So again, if your teammates were under severe pressure, so again, the opposition is, their lines are organized and then they're pressing, then you can come back. And if you want, I can open up a board and kind of show you what I'm talking about. I don't know if that will help you.
No, I'm pretty sure I understand.
Okay. So we're getting to 12:42. Okay, so the only thing I wrote here is that. Shit. I hit the wrong button. 2, 4, 12. Right here, 12:42. Perfect. Okay, so throw in, right? I wrote a note for this. Again, it's hard for me to tell. I don't know if you can win the ball. Me personally, I don't like what you did. You ducked or you like turned it to let it go. I always say like any throw in or set piece, free kick, always win the first ball. Don't let it bounce. That's just me personally. Most coaches at a high level will always tell you have to win the first ball. Or if you don't win the first ball, you have to win the second ball. But, it's better to deal with the first one. So, like right here, you're going to let it go. Again, I can't really tell what's happening. I don't know if she's pushing you or you're trying to, let it roll out. It doesn't really matter, honestly. It just, again, what I'm telling you to do, what I would want you to do is deal with the first ball, head it out, or win the header, or something. Because like you let it go, and they get the ball. So you could have won the first ball. You don't. You let it go. They win the second ball. The first and second ball, in my opinion, are the outside of transition, are the most deadliest pieces in the game, especially from set pieces. So they won the second ball. She's still going. She gets into the box, and it all starts from you letting the ball go. Just deal with the first ball, if you can.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to have another thing here in a couple of seconds. Right here. So the ball's going to go up. Okay, so there's a lot to untake here. It's not necessarily a mistake. It's just commentary for you to think about. All right, so first we need to go back a couple of seconds just to see. Nope, I need to go back more. There we go. So you're in this position. I don't think you're in a bad position. Your teammate's going to clear, sort of. You come back to help. That's why you're going back. And the ball's going to go slammed. Okay. So again, this is just context and commentary. Not really a lot that you can do with this because it's a lot of running. All right, so just a gap moment. So right here. So you see your teammate's cutting inside. And I wrote this as the note. Okay. So you make a run eventually, because again, you have a lot of running to do. And you make the run and you go through the gap here and come here. Now, that's not a bad thing, in my opinion, if you were already, I'm just going to use a straight line. If you were already here, you continuing the run here is not a bad thing, because then she can just slip you the ball. Okay, but in this situation, because of where you are and where your teammate already is, I think the run that you make is not necessary. So I'm going to show you what I mean in a second. So you're going to go between them in a second right here. So you run in this gap, and you can see she's cutting across. I mean, it can be beneficial because you're hopefully dragging a defender with her, or with you. But like if you're looking at this frame, you can see the blue team is dropping. Let me play it first. Okay, so you guys kind of rotated. It's not a bad thing. Obviously, this was a bad mistake. But, this is why I would rather you have the ball than her, personally. So, the adjustment that we can make is because you're not there yet. And again, at a higher level, this might not be a bad thing. Because, again, you should be pulling a defender or two off. Just at this level, this is where it gets important to understand the context. At this level, based on the situation that we're looking at, I think you can make a better decision of not making that run. Okay, if you were at a higher level, yeah, you can make that run. So again, I think that context is important. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay.
But where would if I'm not making...
I'm going to show you right now. Hold on. So right here, you can see that both these girls, we're just going to do one circle, are both dropping currently, right? Your teammate has already cut. Nope. I mean, you can do that too, but you can just wait here.
Oh, okay.
And then she can play you. You can either then dribble, or you could pass here or do whatever.
Okay.
Right, because if you look at the context, right, let's think about this. Hold on. Two defenders. Defender, 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 defender. And there might be one more. Maybe not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6. You guys are breaking with 3.
Okay.
You're not, the chance, you might be able to dribble all of them. You might be able to do that, but everybody else, probably not. Right? So, you're playing 3 versus 6 in this moment. This is not an advantage to you guys.
So if I stay where I
Look,
am now,
let me go back. Hold on. Hold on. Right. I'm going to freeze it and then we can look at it. So I want you to see this right there. You can see the girls are still dropping, right? So imagine. You just wait right here.
Yeah.
She can then pass right here.
Okay.
You can then turn right here. Now again, you're making a split-second decision based on what you're seeing. I have the perspective of watching you from a camera from the sideline. So I can't see and I can't tell what you were thinking, what you're seeing. Again, I'm just trying to provide context. Clearly you have nobody in front of you, so there's no teammate up here. If you get the ball here in this gap, which she doesn't play you, your team ends up conceding possession anyways. Right, so she's going to dribble here. You make the run, you pull her, which is not bad. So it ends up being 4 versus 6. She keeps dribbling because this teammate, I don't know what this left wing is doing. I mean, she's all over the place. She should be, especially when she sees her coming here, she should be going from here to here and then trying to run here. Yeah, so she would come wide but then run forward.
Yeah.
But she doesn't do that, but that's fine. So does that answer your question? Does that help? Okay. So your team loses the ball, and now it's a transition. And I can't stand that when people lose the ball and they walk. That kills me. It's not good. Sweet. So next one's coming up in a couple of seconds. Okay, so, and this is just me personally. Like, I talk to, people that work at a high level. Like, context, again, is important. I got a guy whose son is in my program. He's a 2015, but he's a scout for 4 professional clubs. One of them was a club that just got relegated from the Premier League. Point is, me and him talked, decent amount. Good guy. And, one of the things he says that is a big difference is going to come right here. This is my point that I'm coming with. Is like, and this doesn't just impact you, it impacts everybody on the field. And this is something that I'm paraphrasing. He didn't say like this is just how I took it. When the ball goes dead, so the ball goes out of bounds, free kick, set piece, corner kick, foul, whatever it is,